We have some more merch dropping, but of course, the memberships are always the best because in looking at our budget, we're able to determine how many people we can support, how many athletes we can reach. So our memberships help us to gauge that because it's essentially like a pledge. But please follow us on every platform. We are the same.
Oh man, TP, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Oh, we are live. We are live. Classic weekend. Um, please excuse the clock. I can't do nothing about that. It is what it is at this point. Um, I guess we should start off with Michigan. Michigan got the number one recruit in the nation. After that young man had locked in with LSU, yeah, Michigan IL said, you know what? Come to us. 4 years, $10 million.
Is that how much they paid him?
That's how much he's getting paid. 4 years, 10 million.
Out of high school.
10 million. I'm not mad. You know how I feel about it. I think it's beautiful. You know he transferring next year, right? Just so everybody know, I'm calling it. He transferring next year.
Why would he transfer?
He can get the same amount of money, if not more, from other schools. And you know what schools I'm talking about. TP.
Does he play as a true freshman?
So this is the era that we're in. And my stance has always been pay these players because the NCAA has been getting away with indentured servitude forever and a day. That being said, at $10 million, and I know I am the man that says NIL has nothing to do with playing time. I understand all of that. This situation is different. You have a coach in Sharon Moore who has not performed very well this year. Michigan has said, you're not on the hot seat. What you need? And he said, I need a quarterback. And they said, bet. And then NIL said, I don't know what them other schools give you, but we offering 4 years, $10 million. I ain't mad.
I ain't mad at it either. Young man getting his bread. You know what I mean? I got
your degree. The first thing you do is Lloyd's of London. Get your Lloyd's of London contract. Insurance policy. Get that first. Because if anything happens, you good. Get your grades. Because that's 4 years. You know grades is a part of that. You got to stay in school. Get your grades.
I'm about to learn. I'm about to study on being a manager, a player agent. So we don't got to pay nobody to facilitate these deals. Cut out the middleman. I am the middleman. I'm the plug. I'm who you do it through.
It's 10 million. Number one recruiting in the nation. That's got to put them in the top 5 in recruiting this year easy. So
securing the number one.
Mm-hmm. But there's a flip side of that, TP. The flip side of that is Brian Kelly. Sir, it's 2 coaches in this land that can't mess up recruiting. Mike Norvell and Brian Kelly. You've had 2 pro-ready quarterbacks, and you have not won your division. 2. No SEC championship game. Two.
Don't even know what the SEC championship game looked like.
See what
They
happened to
started
Jimbo.
they started out hot, you know, and then they ran into A&M. And I'm gonna get to that later. Yeah, I'll get to the whole A&M thing later. But they started out, pretty decent. They had a couple big wins early in the year. Looked like they were rolling. They were winning in the A&M game. And then A&M came roaring back, took the lead, and then it got ugly. Going into the offseason, if their recruiting is it on par with what it has been in the past? We've always known LSU to be wide receiver U and DBU. Look around the NFL. You'll find a plethora of talent at those skill positions that came from LSU, receiver and defensive back. The list is long and prestigious. Arguably the best receiver in the NFL right now, and Justin Jefferson went to LSU. Oh, the second best receiver in the NFL also went to LSU, and Jamar Chase. The list is long. With that being said, if your recruiting isn't keeping up with what y'all have been doing, then changes are going to be made. We've already seen that Brian Kelly really can't coach his way out of a brown paper bag. In very winnable games, he has found ways to lose them. Florida State last year when they beat LSU, they tried to give LSU the game, literally tried, and he said, "Nah, I don't want it. Y'all can have this one." And in all big games, we've seen Brian Kelly struggle on the sideline to get the guys to buy in to either what he's doing or just to execute the simple things that they've gone over during the week. This has been an ongoing thing, just like with Norville down in Florida State. Can't coach your way out of a brown paper bag. It is a coaching issue. And what I've noticed across the SEC, this is going from Tennessee, Ole Miss, Alabama, Georgia, Texas, hell, A&M. The talent, no team is just superiorly talented than the next. When it boils down to is coaching. And I think with NIL, we're starting to see the balance in teams. And now the blaring coaching issues are starting to stand out. Mark Neville don't have a better team than everybody he goes and plays. And guess what? He's getting his ass whooped. LSU don't have better teams than everybody they're going to play against. And they're losing games. How many times over the past 20 years have you seen the best SEC team lose 2 games in a season? And we even got to the conference championship game. That hasn't happened. There are so many 2-loss teams in the SEC right now that still have a legitimate bid to the playoffs. Granted, they have to win out. They're going to need a little help. But at the end of the day, you win and you in. Georgia took care of business in knocking off Tennessee. Ole Miss took care of business in beating Georgia. Georgia took care of business in beating Texas. Alabama took care of business when they beat Georgia. It has been rock'em sock'em, rock'em sock'em robots in the SEC. And if Brian Kelly's ability to recruit doesn't improve, we've already seen that he can't coach. So y'all better get some stars on that sideline. Otherwise, he's gonna be out of a job.
A few things. I'm gonna get to Norval later. He did a podcast. We're gonna talk about that later. Um, but it's a reason USC coach said, you know what? I'm gonna go somewhere else. I don't want to be in the SEC. He knew he's not an SEC coach. Brian Kelly saw that money. $95 million guaranteed. I don't know if anybody paid attention to what he did at Notre Dame, but he left Notre Dame to go to LSU. And LSU is a wonderful football school. But when you talk Notre Dame and LSU, and the coach go there, it should have been some red flags. Why he want to come here? But again, $95 million. I don't begrudge him. He earned that money. But it's the thing about LSU. It's a few schools in the world that don't care about how much money they spend on good coaching. If you're not a good coach, they gonna get rid of you. LSU is one of them schools. They don't care. So, this recruiting class, I don't know how he pulls out a top 10 recruiting class. But if he don't, by October next year, he gone. Because I don't see him coaching above what he's done so far. And the fact that you got beat by Mike Norvell twice, and we trying to run him out of town. The writing is on the wall. I don't know how I can say this gently. Brian Kelly, just like Dabo, ran his mouth in the newspapers, in the media, and said, we are not buying players. You ain't got to. You ain't even got to. But staying at LSU long term and not buying players, you ain't even got to worry about it. Because it's one thing LSU did through the history of time, even before it was legal, was buy ball players. They had the bag man on the sideline for years. On the sideline. Like this man had a coaching pass. He ain't never coached a down, a practice, a drill. His only job in life was making sure the money got to who it was supposed to get to. That's LSU. And Brian Kelly, if you think you above LSU, you, sir, are what the kids say is about to fuck around and find out. And sir, you are on the find out portion of this ride. So, but I'm gonna get off Brian Kelly because another interesting thing happened this week. See, I be on FSU Twitter. I don't know why. I think I got some sadomasochist stuff about me that just like punishment. But I was on FSU Twitter, and there was noise about some coach going on a podcast. I knew it wasn't the head coach, because why would the head coach, who's 1-9, have time to go on the podcast? And then RG3 say, hey, guess what, Florida State? Come on, that coach out. And the first 1,000, well, somebody, the first whoever, I'm going to give out $1,000. Cool. You had a little giveaway. Cool. Smart marketing. Here's the problem, though. There is a growing faction of Florida State Seminoles by himself, me, that no longer like the head coach at Florida State. Have joined me on the dark side. Some of the nicest people, men and women, you will ever meet, who have never said a bad word about any coach ever have choice words to say about this coach. And he decided to go on a podcast and talk about Florida State football. And there were some things that jumped out. He said, he's sorry about the way the season has gone, and he's working to get the ship right. That's great. That's awesome. And see, the thing about accountability is that if you say, "Hey, I did this wrong. I need to do better," that's accountability.
Mm-hmm.
But right now, Florida State is in that toxic portion of our relationship where we believe your accountability means you need to sit and stew in the mess you created until you fix it. Now, in most healing situations, once you acknowledge accountability, you acknowledge the issue, you address how you're going to fix it, and you move on. That is not real life college football fandom. That is not a world that exists in college football fandom. What we want you to do is we need you to focus on the business at hand, which is winning games, particularly homecoming against Charleston Southern, and that school down the road, them boot skins. That's all we care about. Because if you think that little rumble that Troy and a few others have caused about you not being the head coach at Florida State anymore, lose that Charleston Southern game, and then lose to Florida, who coach we thought was going to be fired by the second week of the season. Lose that game. That's a good way to get out.
I don't think anything can be done. I look at coaching positions kind of like a marriage. You have your ups, you have your downs, but you battle through it together. When is it time for a divorce? Is when you have irreparable differences. And that is the state. That is where we are right now. With Mark Noble. These are irreparable differences. You already contributed to 2 of the 3 worst seasons in FSU history. There is no way.
He got all 3 of them. He got all 3 of them.
He has. Oh man, I thought somebody had a worse season than him. I thought it was one more. And how old is this? How old is the University of Florida State? 90. Man. Yeah, like it go back.
Yeah.
Go way back.
We've been playing 50 plus years of football.
And this one person has contributed to the 3 worst seasons in school history. Those are what we call irreparable differences. It's time to head on down to the courthouse. File a petition. State your claim. And move on. He has not recruited well. He has not coached well. He has not maintained the favor of the people. They no longer are extending grace. They are done with him. It is time to move on. And I think just letting him finish this season is only a formality because they've already fired the offensive coordinator and the defensive coordinator. Has the special teams coach going to run the show? No, they're just going to let him finish out the year and he can leave out the building with the little shred of dignity he still got left.
I mean, he still would be a state employee because we're not Texas A&M. We're not LSU. We don't pay buyouts. You just own the payroll and your badge don't work no more. That's it. You just can't go on no building on the campus. You can just sit in the parking lot and wait till the first of the month and get your check and keep it moving. That's it. That's it. We funny. Are all good here.
Yeah.
But
speaking of Florida State and coaches, I've seen multiple landing spots for Mr. Deion Sanders, Coach Prime. Because with the ever looming possibility of Shador going to the NFL, The question is, does Dion stay at Colorado? Does he follow his son to the league? I saw something today that was saying that Dion and Shadura could be the next coach quarterback combo in Las Vegas. Las Vegas is a city that is known for big moves, splashes, the flashy. Who flashier than Deion Sanders in all the sports and all of coaching? Who has more notoriety and namesake than Deion Sanders? Not one person. You want to talk about a city with bright lights? They say New York is the city of bright lights. They ain't never been to Vegas at night. All you see is light. And I actually wouldn't be mad at it because you look at the economic benefit of bringing Deion to Vegas. That's must-see football. That is prime time football, i.e. more Thursday night, more Sunday night, and more Monday night games. Shador has the possibility of being the next big thing to come out into the NFL. I'm starting, I've had my gripes. I see the ups, I see the downs. But he has been playing at an extremely high level the second half of the season, and he has been playing as the best quarterback in college football. There was the question about Carson Beck, Quinn Ewers, just to name a couple, and they have not performed as well as Shador has with the adversity that that team has faced. Colorado just got the number 2 quarterback recruit to commit to Colorado. The number 2 quarterback in the United States has just committed to the University of Colorado with the hopes of playing under Deion Sanders. There is too much uncertainty in this situation where I don't know if that was premature for I think his name is Juju to have committed to Colorado. If Deion stays, hey, you seen what he did with his own son? He might get you to the league too. Maybe he is a quarterback whisperer we didn't know. But with all that being said, we don't know what's going to happen once Shador leaves Colorado. Right as of right now, nobody can say Deion staying, Deion going to Florida State, Deion going to the NFL. Nobody knows. What we do know is Colorado has a chance to make it to the playoff. And, with everything else that's been going on, I think that needs to be the focus because I'm seeing all these headlines about what Deion's going to do once the season's over with while the season is still going. And I don't think that's fair to that team. I don't ever think it's fair for a team to be competing for a championship, but every headline is about the coach and whether or not he's going to still be at that school or at that program or at that organization. It's not fair to the players, it's not fair to the coach, and it's definitely not fair to the fans. Because when we root for something, we root wholeheartedly. And we're not looking at the future, we're looking at right now. What are you doing today? Are we winning this game coming this weekend? Are we going to make the playoff? Are we going to make the Big 12 championship game? These are all questions that are still more prevalent than what happens in February and March. I mean, let's tone it back. Let's tone it back one time, and let's think about the here and now. For a team like Florida State, they can't think about the here and now. The here and now is over with. We got to think about what's next. Like, you see the difference? Like, what do we play? What are they playing for versus what's Colorado playing for? They're playing for pride. They ain't even playing for the coach no more. They playing for pride.
TP,
but I don't know.
I see you have chosen violence today. You have decided to piss in my Cheerios.
Hey, you brought up the subject, and I only elaborated on it. But
few things.
Like I always say, stop me when I'm wrong. That's all I ask. Stop me when I'm wrong.
It's a few things. All right. Prime in Vegas, I'm okay with that. Shador in Vegas, I'm okay with that. We're gonna have to teach him how to not be the hero. Because in college is one thing, and the pros is different. They run a 4-2-2. So you need that's something that needs to be worked on. As far as Prime to Florida State, I don't know. And
What's
the
wrong
reason
with a
that
4-2-2? What's wrong with a 4-2-5?
nothing. But when you have defensive linemen running 4-2s and 4-3s, you can't be holding on to that ball for 5 and 6 seconds scrambling around. You got to check that.
You talking about the defenses that he'll be playing?
Yes.
Oh, I think every player that's went from college to the NFL, first thing they notice is the change of pace.
Yeah,
everybody's fast, everybody's strong, and everybody's athletic.
I think Caleb right now is the only one that's still struggling with the change of speed right now. But that's my only critique on Shedeur. Like, get rid of the ball, check it down, let's play for the next possession. When it comes to Colorado,
he does hold the ball too long. I will.
When it comes to Colorado, Shedeur hasn't changed his level of play. What has changed in Colorado is Warren Sapp got his degree and became the defensive line assistant. That dude that was there last year, I'm sorry, he don't get credit for the change in the way these boys have played after the first part of the season. That is all Warren Sapp. And you have never heard me give credit to an IBIS, either pro, college, or coaches. This is one IBIS coach that should be looked at in the future. He has made, you can see the difference. This is not even a debate. It's not even, well, I think, no. That defensive line, you ain't got to blitz no more. That defensive line is defensive line.
They were traffic cones last year. Like, let's be honest. They got ran around all day.
These dudes they have increased the pressures, they've increased the sacks, and they've given the offense more opportunities to score points. That gives them a chance to win the conference and get into the playoffs. Now, should Prime get into the playoffs? That is a different discussion for a different day. My own Prime, again, great coach. I have not seen him win the big dance on either level. I've seen a coach win the big dance. I've seen an offense in Duke. I don't care what nobody say. Yes, he's the running back coach at Duke. Was Duke scoring all them points last year? Don't worry, I'll wait. I know what they're doing at Duke. I've seen it live and in person in Tallahassee, in Atlanta. Oh, by the way, that coach not only is a builder, a recruiter, uses the portal, he's also a national champion. That is the one thing. And people say, oh, Troy, your standards are too high. Everybody can't beat. No. You don't understand what I'm saying. I'm not saying that everybody that comes in should be a national championship coach. That's not what I'm saying. What I am saying, though, is you need a builder of programs, a recruiter, a person who can navigate the portal and NIL. By the way, FAMU, they got an NIL. They got an NIL for their football players. Their coach was there when they had NIL. So he knows how to navigate that as well. And then he has a ring, an available coach with a ring. It ain't a lot of them out there. And he did it at Florida A&M, who is lacking the resources that Florida State has. So if you get mad at me because I say there is no excuse for a coach at a Florida school, you at the top of the state, you get to look out all over the state and figure out who is where. But it's Florida State. We know Big Ben, Jacksonville, Miami, and fight your way, fight them boot skins in Central Florida for the best talent there. You got a top 10, top 5 recruiting class every year. But I got a coach that people don't like him. Granted, people like Prime. People like Coach Simmons. Everybody, universal, that I've talked to about shotgun likes Coach Simmons. That's why I champion him. Florida State needs to get back to where all the high school coaches love the head coach. That's all. That's it. Take
That
care of that.
the family spirit has been taken out, I think. And I think that we got to find our way back to that and understand that NIL has changed some things. But if you have the money and you have the prestige, there should be no reason why you can't put together a good roster. It's just because they don't like you. That's what we're at now. They don't like him.
Coach Atkins got fired and 3 recruits left with him. Really?
Yeah. Yeah, I came to play for him. See, a good coach has this ability to inspire people to want to run through a brick wall for them. When you remove said person, don't be mad when the people that bought into him leave with them. Because I've played sports. I understand what it's like to play for somebody that you want to run through a brick wall for and for somebody that you despise. There's a now I'm not saying that we go out there and lollygag, but there's a different level of intensity that you play with. Because you're gonna try your best. But there's a level of intensity that carries with that. There's this sense of brotherhood, the teammanship when you have a very good coach. And we see it all around sports, no matter the level. When the players buy into the coach, the team is successful. When the team hates the coach, that team is not successful. It really ain't a gray area. I've never seen a team that hated their coach that went out and played well. I've never seen it.
Well, I know it's this, and remember, we are only a couple weeks away from National Signing Day. These kids are letting everybody know that they are going in the portal. It is November 21st, and kids are jumping in the portal. So I want everybody to know, boy, this recruiting season here gonna be spicy. It's gonna be real spicy. We're gonna take a real quick break. Then we're gonna come back and talk about some baseball, some interesting baseball. We'll be right back.
We have some more merch dropping, but of course the memberships are always the best because in looking at our budget, we're able to determine how many people we can support, how many athletes we can reach. So our memberships help us to gauge that because it's essentially like a pledge. But please follow us on every platform. We are the same.
He just had too much loft on his players. Loft. Lack of fucking talent.
You know, they tell me everything I need to know. But
you know,
the NFC South is definitely a competitive division. It's competitive between 3 very mediocre teams.
Like I feel an attack right now. I just feel.
No. See, we going at this all wrong.
I don't even think that was a compliment.
Marlo, there was a game in which your quarterback blatantly missed wide open receivers down the middle of the field.
Well, first of all, in his defense, I'm not going to say blatantly. He just had too much loft on his players. Loft. Lack of fucking talent.
Oh man! All right, so we back. I know a lot of people heard, and it's making its rounds after the hurricane, or after the hurricane Milton. It was discovered that the Tropicana Field lost its roof. And to go by it every week and look at it, it is creepy. Like you can look right through the top of it. It is just, it's a scene. It is an absolute scene. If the interstate wasn't the way it was, I would stop and take a picture of it. But it's in an odd location, so can't really stop there. But when you pass by, it's a creepy look. So it was announced that the Rays would play this upcoming season, in Tampa. And a lot of people were chiming in on how, and a penalty talk was one of them, or a group was one of them, how it'd be so much easier to get to the games now. And all you have to do is do a Google search of Tropicana Field, and literally your eyes tell you exactly what's going on here. To say that it's easier to get to Raymond James Stadium that is not close to the interstate as opposed to Tropicana Field is a farce. It is, I'm going to choose my words nice, and I'm trying to be nice. I'm trying to be a better Christian, y'all. It is comical at best to say that these people have lost their damn mind. At the end of a Buccaneers football game, it takes 20 minutes to go down Dale Mabry to get to the interstate. When you leave a Rays baseball game, now granted, it ain't a lot of people going to the Rays baseball game. So when people leave the Rays baseball game, they just make a left or right and another left or right, and they're on the interstate. Now, once everybody get on the interstate, then that's a whole different ball game because we just got traffic congestion because we had 300 plus thousand people move to the Bay Area since 2019. But to get on the internet and say that the Rays belong in Tampa, well, first off, excuse my good Christian values, but fuck you. Where was you at in the late 80s when the politicians was coming to the black community going, hey, we want to knock down these projects in these affordable home living areas. We're going to bring jobs and opportunity and affordable housing to the area so we can attempt to get baseball. Mind you, Major League Baseball never promised St. Pete no team. But they're going to black people and saying, hey, we want y'all to move. We know it's affordable, but we want to take the risk of bringing jobs to the area to build this state. TP, the jobs that they bought are not livable wages, not now. If you are not a senior executive, you're not living a livable wage. If you're not in the marketing department and doing great sales, you're not living a livable wage. So when this new iteration of this new stadium came up, the people from the NAACP said, hey, county, we don't know why you're dragging your feet because you promised us these affordable housing many, many moons ago and ain't get it. And now y'all promising it again because they're asking black people because the bulk of St. Pete property tax owners that are just regular people look like me. That's going away because we got gentrification coming on. But it's a lot of people that look like me that pay taxes because you can't do that in Tampa. You can't ask Hillsborough County residents to pay taxes because they gonna say no. They won't give teachers raises. You think they finna raise taxes for a stadium? And then, Tippy, this is how you know these idiots are not from the Tampa Bay area. They just moved here for the sunshine and beaches. They said, why don't we have them play at Raymond James Stadium forever? Have you ever been to a minor league baseball game in March? Not in April, not in the season, just in March. Let me ask a different question. Have you ever ran through hell with gasoline draws on? That's a better question. Because that's what you're going to be doing at Raymond James Stadium. This ain't the big sombrero. The big sombrero was cooler and all that global warming and all that. Okay, that's part of it too. But Raymond James Stadium is not like the big sombrero. The big sombrero, it let wind come in and flow out. Raymond James Stadium, you just hot. And it's probably on purpose so they can sell beer. Because the beer man is always moving. Either that or he real hot. And you think you finna play, that's just the hot. You finna play a baseball game in July, in the heat. Now, if you don't get off my motherfucking internet, what? And then, y'all talk about traffic. Let me tell you about traffic. So baseball got these things called 1 o'clock games. But if the 1 o'clock game rains out, now you got a double header the next day. So they playing baseball from 1 o'clock to 10 o'clock at night. There's a high school in the area. There are businesses in the area. There are businesses that are just getting on the interstate. And you're going to have all them people getting on the interstate. Y'all stupid. Y'all ain't think this out. Y'all like that Hillsborough County Commissioner that told everybody, oh, I got the votes to move the raise to Tampa. Come to find out he ain't had nan vote. Lie. I'm going to go ahead and say this. And I live in Tampa. But I'm from St. Pete. And I'm telling you this from the bottom of my heart. Keep your motherfucking hands off the Tampa Bay Rays. I am not a Rays fan. I'm a St. Pete native. I'm one of them people that actually pay them taxes. I'm actually one of them people who watch my friends get displaced to watch a stadium go up and promises not be kept. Promises going to be kept this time. There are people in place to see to it. So yeah, the NAACP is complaining. It ain't about no kickback systems. It's about promises made and promises will be kept. This ain't political. You ain't got to make it political. It's real simple. Did you make this promise? You did. Keep saying promise. It's not political at all. But more importantly, let's stay focused. The Tampa Bay Devil Rays, the Tampa Bay Rays, or St. Pete Rays, whatever you want to call them, do not play baseball in Tampa Bay. They play baseball in St. Pete. Temporarily, they'll be playing in Tampa. And when a new stadium goes up, or if they decide to put the top back on the old stadium, they will be back in St. Pete, where they belong. And they've always belonged. If you don't like it, you can pack your shit up and go be a Yankees fan. I don't give a damn. Either way, they're going to be in St. Pete. Sorry, Danielle. I know you want me to stop cussing. But, you know, that's how I feel, man. You know, some things just be irking me. I had to get that one off my chest.
Was that to hear me out?
You know what?
I guess it was.
But it's like I said, I want everybody to enjoy the Bay Area, but some things belong in certain places. They just do. That would be like telling people Ybor is gonna move to St. Pete. What? No, Ybor isn't Ybor. Stop messing with stuff. Everything ain't got to change. Y'all can stop putting rice in spaghetti. Like, you ain't got to mess with stuff. Some things just is what it is. Just leave it alone. Well, I'm in Orlando, TP. And for those who noticed, Marlo is not with us because it's Classic Weekend. And Marlo has begun celebrating Classic Weekend. And why do I say celebrate? Because it is a celebration. If you know the history of FAMU and Bethune-Cookman, they are closely entwined. FAMU is the reason why Bethune-Cookman started baseball, why they had instruments for their band. They had help starting the football team. And there is even a rumor, and I'm calling it a rumor because I don't know. I've seen some alumni post it, but I don't know for sure. There is even a rumor that Mother Mary wanted to go to Florida A&M. I don't know if that's true or not. Whatever. But they're closely intertwined through institution, through fan base. That's my daddy, girlfriend, kids. And every time we have a family holiday, because this game used to be played on Thanksgiving weekend, by the way. Every time we have a holiday, them people show up with Tupperware and no food. So we had to make sure they knew when it's this time of year, bring them check sodas. And don't bring one kind, bring 3, but always bring the strawberry because everybody loves the strawberry. So we're going to have mullet and check soda this weekend. But it is a historical thing. And I get on here and I champion Black national champions all the time because it's important. It's a part of history. And I tell people, FAMU has 17 combined national championships. Now, if I tell the whole truth, FAMU should have 30 Black national championships, but they stubbed their toe on this school in Daytona. And even though the discrepancy in wins and losses in the Florida Classic is astronomical, the last 26 games is 13-13. I'm saying that because them Alley Cats want to point that out. And I like to point out that the game didn't start 26 games ago. The game started a long, long time ago. And the record is very, very different. But that's what they hang their hat on. And I just, whatever. But the importance of this game is more than just football. The importance of this game is in the state of Florida, if you desire to go to a historically Black college in the state of Florida, these are 2 biggest schools in the state as far as HBCUs are concerned. And so this is the highlight game. Bethune-Cookman has already signed a recruit this weekend off the strength of this game. Well, actually, off the strength of FAMU losing last week to Valley, but that's another story for another day. So they've already signed a recruit off of this game. This game is important. FAMU comes into this game kind of hobbled and humbled with a team that was 1-9 and I think it was 1-9, 0-9, and they got a victory, snapping FAMU's home game winning streak. So FAMU comes into this game humbled. Bethune-Cookman, who a few weeks ago, their fan base was ready to hang their coach and put his head on a stake in front of the campus. Then they played Grambling. And remember, TP, when I said on this podcast, them Alley Cats ain't going to just be sorry. They're going to late October, early November, they're going to mess around and beat somebody they ain't had no business beating. Hey, Grambling, how y'all doing? And they're going to start talking noise for the Florida Classic. It's almost like I'm Nostradamus. Like, I just picked this out of the air. No, this is what they've been doing my entire life. Either they really good or they sorry, and then they find some kind of way to beat somebody. Now they're talking noise in the Florida Classic. Bethune-Cookman ain't just gonna be sorry. That's not what they're gonna do. They're not just gonna be sorry. They're gonna be sorry, but they're gonna have bright spots, and then people be like, "Oh, wait, they might have a chance to beat FAMU."
Is that where we at this year?
That is where we at. Because the slander I have suffered from them people in Daytona.
I mean, FAMU has lost some games they had no business losing. So,
which is why you
exactly.
see all the talk. They've made changes. Coach Hendry is no longer calling offense plays. Coach Burris is the play caller right now. And people who don't remember Coach Burris, if I'm not mistaken, is the CFL Hall of Famer, CFL quarterback Hall of Famer that is now the quarterback's coach and now the play caller. So we should see some differences in the offense. The same offense, just different play calling. You set up the plays differently. You execute them differently. So we should see some differences. In a perfect world, I would love to see FAMU start fast because notoriously all season long they just struggle, and then throw it into Daniel Richardson's hands. And late down the season or down the stretch of the season, you saw you cannot keep living like that. You have to dominate the teams that you're supposed to dominate. As my daddy said, you whoop trash, because otherwise trash start believing that they champions. And that's what happened. So now we got trash that done won the East, and they're talking big noise. So it is what it is. But this game is huge. It has huge implications going into the future. Remember, this team just came off a Black National Championship. So it has huge implications. Last year, Bethune-Cookman had the number 2 HBCU high school recruiting class in the nation. They got talent. They have talent. But I'm excited to see everybody from Twitter and all the podcasters and content creators. I'm excited to see them. I'm excited to see the FAMU people that I've connected with, grown to love. It's going to be a beautiful weekend. It will be even better if they beat the brakes off of Bethune. I will be able to come here on Tuesday with a smile from ear to ear, knowing that next season has bright spots. So the future looks bright. So, but TP, the Lightning look good. They've been looking good. I've been a little nervous because when you got a young squad, you get a little nervous. You got to see how they're gonna respond to adversity. And they've been on a little heater. They done knocked off 2 of the top teams in the league, and they skating fast, they skating smart. I wish they played a little better defense. When you see 5 goals on the board, you kind of hold your chest a little bit because why are we giving up 5 goals? But it happens. But I'm excited. I'm definitely excited. Your Rockets. How come you didn't tell me y'all had a 30-point score in the paint? I didn't know.
What do you mean you didn't know?
I didn't know that man scored 30. He had 30 and 12 the other night.
I'm gonna say this: we have built the team from the ground up that is multifaceted. We have a big man, we have a slasher, we have a distributor, we have a defense specialist. You know what I mean? We have what we need to be successful. With some development, this is a playoff team. This core right here, we don't need any other big names. I believe that we have all that we need to be successful. It's just going to come down to player development. Can, Jalen Green get it done? Jabari Smith, Seguin. They all have the talent. They're just young. But we're gonna be all right. Absolutely.
I like the young talent in the NBA. I do not like this in-season tournament. Please get rid of it. It is a monstrosity on my eyes. I no longer want to watch these ugly courts. I just please make it stop. Like if y'all not gonna make it stop, I'll come back in January. Because this is terrible TV, except for the fact that Steph Curry and James Harden can still shoot the ball. And can we? All right, you know what?
But you know, I think one thing that I didn't talk about was with our core. I still don't like Dylan Brooks. I still don't. The man is just.
You know what? Hold on, TP. This deserves. This definitely deserves.
The disrespect segment.
Uh-oh. Here we go.
Ever since Dylan Brooks opened his mouth calling out a world champion and saying things that like he's better than him or this man ain't done nothing, he's rolled Steph Curry's coattails, I haven't liked Dylan Brooks. I just haven't. Ever since he opened his mouth, the Grizzlies went downhill and we seen what happened. They got rid of him. You are not good enough to be disrespecting people that have won and succeeded in this league. You got to stay in your lane. Now he's on the Rockets now, right? So he's on my team. I want him to play well. But when you go 0 for 7 from 3 in the game, I'm just looking at it like, bro, like you couldn't hit one, like Earth's ball. Stop shooting him. Think he's shooting at what a 31% 3-point percentage. You don't need to be taking 7 threes in a game. That just can't happen. Yes, it's definitely not helping us at all. I'm gonna find a game where he scored more than 10 points. Because he was 0 for 7 last night, 1 for 3 in the game before. We had a game where we put up 143 on somebody. He had 15 points, 1 of 3 from 3. But he got it in the paint. He got it with the mid-range. Stop shooting threes, dude. That's all I'm saying. Stop shooting threes, bro. Just please stop.
And I'm gonna give you this news. I enjoy the disrespect tirade. I do.
You breaking up, Troy. You're breaking up.
From under the cabinet.
Right. All right. I think I'm back. This is the joys of technology on the road.
Okay. I can hear you now.
All right. So that 36% is impressive. That 11 points a game is not when you out there 30 minutes a game. So,
but I mean, he's the defensive guy. What I'm saying is he needs to stop shooting threes. That's my problem. Stop shooting threes. You can be on the court. He's a hustler. He gets in other players' heads. He does the dirty work. Just stop shooting threes. Stop.
all right. So the moral of today's story is TP wants him to stop shooting threes. Got it. In the other portion of the disrespect segment, we talked about accountability. I'm going to say another word today. I'm going to say a word, nepotism. And we didn't really dig too deep into this subject because the young man needed to develop, but we're here now. We're here now because that subject went from a low little roar to now it's loud. People are screaming. Here's why. Nepotism, when it came to Bobby and Barry Bonds, didn't matter because Barry earned his way up through the minors. So there was no discussion on he was given his spot. There was a little talk, but that wasn't it. When we start talking about Ken Griffey Sr. and Ken Griffey Jr., people was talking about Ken Griffey long before he ever hit the major leagues. And when he hit the major leagues, we understood what everybody was talking about. Bronny James and LeBron James is a different situation. No one was clamoring for Bronny. You had people caping for Bronny because there was potential there because of what his father has done. But there were no independent people singing his praises. So when he was drafted and the agent said, hey, don't draft him, he going to LA. Cool. We had us a nice little story. Father, son playing minutes on the court with each other, first time in NBA history. That was cool. But everybody kept dodging the downside of this. Well, we're now on the downslope of the downside. The moment word got out that Bronny James won't be flying commercial to away games, that was a problem. We figured Bronny was going down to get reps to become a better professional basketball player. Right now, he looked like Sideshow Bob, and it's not his fault.
You don't think he's playing well in the G League?
I think he will play better with more reps. And the fact that LeBron James, who's been on Twitter or who's been on social media, threw out all sorts of outlandish targets at him, to not be on social media or taking a break from social media right now, it reeks of I don't want to take accountability for the moves that I made. And in no way, shape, or form are we holding Bronny accountable for the adults that were around him to take these steps. This was the hubris of adults, not him. And no shade should be thrown his way. Remember, athletically, he is still a kid in college. His body is still getting used to the 1,000 hours he's going to need to perfect whatever type of basketball player he is going to. So It's not on him. It's on the adults. He should have never been drafted to LA. He should have went somewhere that was going to work with him, help him perfect his craft, and help him be a pro.
That's what they're doing.
He's staying behind. He's staying behind the G League from away games. He needs those reps. Every rep he gets is helping him. Just staying home and shooting jumpers, he got to get real game experience.
From my understanding, he's at the Lakers facility during the G League team's away games, or he's working out with their personal trainer.
Okay.
There's no days off. Technically.
No, I'm not saying that.
And I get what you mean when you say he needs the reps. Real game time reps is what we did. That's what we didn't have on him coming into the draft, which is why everybody was wondering why he got drafted in the first place, because there were guys with bodies of work that didn't get drafted that probably are better and have been playing. There's been undrafted players that have been playing better than he did, even in summer league. But everything has a cause. Everything has a reason. He's not, you got to look at the reasoning behind it. They feel that he can get the reps at home, and then in between that, he can work on his craft still, just in a private scenario. He has to become a better shooter, first and foremost. If you're going to be a 6'2" guard in the NBA with, I'm going to say, above average athleticism, you have to be able to shoot the ball at a high level to be successful. That's what we're talking about. This is LeBron James' son. So we think about the accolades that LeBron James has accomplished over the course of his career, but what about now we're looking at his son? What is going to be your story? And if he wants to be a great player in the NBA, he has to become an elite shooter, not just somebody that can hit a jumper here and there. If that's not your story, then all of this will be not for nothing. So, the development has to be first and foremost. And the reason he stayed with the Lakers and why the agent told nobody else to draft him was because they knew that he would be able to be there at home. And again, this is something that no other player has the luxury of. He gets to stay at home where his dad plays professional basketball. And on off days, he can learn from him. We talk about white privilege in this country. I don't want to hear shit when we got a black man that's able to teach his son and still play at the highest level. I don't want to hear nothing about it. That's my gripe. We've been set back for centuries. Now you see a family that's gotten ahead, and then you want to pick and prod and do all these other things. No, I don't want to hear it. This is great.
No. Me, looking at what Jordan Poole has become, a year or two under Steph Curry might do wonders for his confidence. And also, he definitely going to let it go. Because apparently everybody that played with Steph and Clay will let that thing go. Absolutely let that thing go. So, but we're going to take one more commercial break. And then we're gonna talk about a couple other things. We're gonna talk about a couple other things. Oh,
this dude can't hold water.
Damn. This person said to me, I think Devron is trying to be the president of FAMU. And I was like, really? I didn't get that. And to be clear, I reached out to his publicist for a statement. Every time some stuff go on, I reach out to Devron. He from St. Pete. I'm from St. Pete. I'm gonna go to St. Pete first to try and get a comment. And his comment on everything that was going on, but there's no comment, or his publicist said there would be no comment at this time. So I ain't just pouring stuff out there. I ain't being fair. That person said directly to me, I think he's trying to be president based on his career moves and his advancements and all of that stuff.
Well, you don't take the interim president job not with anticipation of getting an interview. I don't know nobody who do that.
Well,
So
he just Deveron right now just on the board. So my understanding was that the
are
interim
you talking
president,
about Deveron's trying to become president?
they said he may be trying to become president of FAMU.
Why?
Shit, I got a better chance of being president than that boy. That dude is a Republican.
You know, Marlo is the gift that just keeps on giving. Oh man. All right. So we ain't really hit on NFL a whole lot just yet because it's a lot been going on. But two things.
Called me the fortune teller.
Oh, we're gonna get to that. Brock Purdy. Can we go ahead and stop calling him an elite quarterback, please? Can we just
He
stop?
passes for 300 yards more times than not. Why we gotta tone it down?
So we saying he's a top 10 quarterback. I'll give him top 15. I will give him top 15.
Okay. Name me 9 better. Don't worry. I'll wait. I need you say if you and this is when I ask people that, you know what I'm saying, to go up on that hill and stay up there, you gotta answer that question.
Here it is. Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, Tua, Josh Allen, Mr. Neighbor Lady. What's the kid in Minnesota? Carson. It's not Carson Palmer, but the kid in Minnesota. What is the kid's name?
We're not putting Sam Darnold up. No.
Yes, we are. We are putting Sam Darnold ahead of him.
We're still at 4. I'm still at 4.
How are you at 4? We are already at 6.
I'm at 4. I'm sorry.
Jordan Love. Jay Daniels. CJ. Oh, I'm almost at 10. Hold on, I'm missing somebody.
Tiny Tot.
Tiny Tot is definitely better than him. Do you hear me saying Tiny Tot is a better quarterback than him? It is time to have that conversation.
With a running game and a true number 1 receiver, the Cardinals offense is not a fun thing to play against.
Did you?
We've always known about Kyler Murray's athleticism. He runs a 4.3. He has a baseball background, so he has the ability to throw the ball from any platform. He just hadn't had many players to throw to. When he had D-Hop, they were putting up numbers, but they had no run game. They had no defense. And then you're asking him to just drop back and throw the ball 35 times in an air raid style offense where he can't see his receivers. You have to run the ball and get him out the pocket. That's bottom line. When Russell Wilson was having his greatest years back in Seattle, they were running the ball and using his legs off of the play action to get the ball downfield. He made plays from shotgun, yes. But a lot of their big plays came from the threat of the run.
All right. So,
but Brock Purdy, you know what? I would say top 15. He's in the top half of the quarterbacks. He's in the top. He's in the top half for sure. He has Would they have 4 1,000-yard players on that offense?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know too many other teams that got that have that amount of talent. You know, the same question can be: would these guys still be successful somewhere else? I mean, I think it's pretty obvious that CMC was putting up numbers in Carolina of all places.
Oh goodness.
Debo has shown his ability to make plays after the catch. So if all I got to do is just throw it 5 yards to him, yeah, he'll be successful anywhere he goes. The catches I've seen George Kittle make and the intensity he plays the game of football with, he would be, he's a Pro Bowler on any team he plays with. And then Brandon Ayuk, another very good receiver in that offense. Then they draft Ricky Purcell. So they keep tools around them. I think it's more so the scheme as well. Undrafted running back comes in. He the best RB in the league until CMC comes back. For 5 weeks in a row, Trey Mason was top 3 running back in the league. Numbers wise. So
If it was,
I don't know.
A few things. I gotta apologize to Mr. Neighbor Lady. Mr. Neighbor Lady survived week 8 when I had predicted he would not make it to week 8. Stop it! Stop it! Don't shoot that little motherfucker no more! I stood on that platform because the year before I made that prediction and I was right. What was different this year is Mike Tomlin. There is no other way to describe it. Mike Tomlin is the best football coach in the NFL. And it's not close. And the reason why I say that is because when every other team would have tanked to get high draft picks, the Pittsburgh Steelers have gotten rid of talent and gotten better. And quite frankly, they got Russell Wilson for cheap.
$6 million. I wanted it nickels and dimes.
It is. They got Russell Wilson for a bag of potato chips and a Faygo. And they beat probably the most talented offense, most talented offense in the league. A 2-time MVP and a 3-time rushing champion. And they beat them in a manner that which I still can't figure out. And shout out to Theo. I'm not disrespecting your squad. You do that all on your own. The clips are out there. But the Pittsburgh Steelers kicked 3 field goals and won the game. If that ain't coaching, I don't know what is. I absolutely don't know what is. So shout out to Mike Tomlin. I see you. First ballot Hall of Famer. We're gonna get back to them Hall of Famers too. But yeah, I see you. Now,
who's the first ballot Hall of Famer? Mike Tomlin or Russell?
Mike Tomlin.
Oh, 100%.
But
there was a press conference held the week he announced Russell Wilson would be the starter. And they asked him, do you think this is the right decision and the right time? And he basically said, I make these type of decisions and the results are why I'm well compensated. if that isn't confidence, I don't know what is. And you know what builds confidence? Success. Name a more successful coach outside of Bill Belichick in the last 30 years of football. Name a more successful coach.
I'll go even further. That organization is the pillar of stability, which is why they can have a black man as their head football coach and nobody don't say shit. You ain't heard nobody grumble ever about their head coach, and you won't.
I have heard some things, and it was more stemming from the fact that he was winning enough games to not have a losing season with bad teams.
So they won't get a top.
Yeah, they can't get a top pick because he don't know how to just lose.
We've seen black coaches lose. Hugh Jackson, remember him? He got ran out of Cleveland, and then he got ran out of Grambling. I'm sorry, losing is not a trade that you want to be in when it comes to NFL head coach. I promise you, that's not an area you want to be in. Ask Malo how he feel about his head coach, honestly, after they lose.
I mean, it doesn't matter. Wherever you coach it, if you lose, they will not keep you. So Mike Tomlin understands job security. You can talk about years of mediocrity, but we're not talking about years of being terrible. We're not talking about years of losing. 10 plus games in a season. He's never lost 10 games in a season, in a regular season. And okay, y'all can't get a top draft pick. We're now looking at what a team with a quarterback, because that was the issue. All of those years that they wasn't going far in the playoffs, and when I'm talking about post Ben Roethlisberger, because when Big Ben was there, they were a threat to win the Super Bowl every year. They were a threat to get to the AFC Championship game every year. There just happened to be these other two guys named Peyton Manning and Tom Brady that he had to deal with. For lack of a better word, if those two guys didn't exist, there would be so many other players that would have had opportunity to be great. Ben Roethlisberger would probably have 5 Super Bowls if it wasn't for Tom Brady and Peyton Manning.
Hold on. Real quick. Fox News, not Fox News, FS1, Colin Cowherd was talking about, elite quarterbacks and all this other stuff. And if you did this, that, then the third, you have an elite team. And he took a shot at Steve Berline, and I ain't really appreciate it. So what you ain't gonna motherfucking do is take a shot at a friend of the show. That's what you're not gonna do. Leave the Raider out of your mouth. That is a nice gentleman. He played for a storied franchise who has also had to deal with a megalomaniac in Al Davis. So leave that man out your mouth.
And I don't. And see, I'm not old enough to remember Steve Berline as a Raider, but I do remember seeing him put up numbers in the Carolina Panther uniform. So when 4,000 yards wasn't the norm for quarterbacks, he was doing it.
Mm-hmm. So we need to chill out. Chill out on Steve Berline now. I ain't saying I'm gonna fight nobody, but we're gonna have a tough conversation. That being said, TP, you took my role as Notre Dame. Daniel Jones is no longer the starting quarterback.
I need the clip.
I am looking for that clip. I am desperately looking at that clip. Cause yeah.
For those who wasn't here when I made this prediction, I started with the simple words: Daniel Jones will not be the starting quarterback of the New York Football Giants by the end of this season. Those were my exact words. I haven't seen anything from Daniel Jones in his career so far that would lead me to believe that he is anything better than a below average quarterback. His decision making has been some of the worst I've seen from a starting quarterback in all of my years of watching football. He has amazing talent as far as his athleticism, arm strength, but when it comes to accuracy, decision making, anticipation, leadership, I haven't seen any of those qualities. And the Giants have finally decided to move on. This decision should have came 2 years ago before they paid him $100 million, because at that point he had done nothing to a big contract. Dak Prescott was fighting for 25 to 30 million a year, while they just handed Daniel Jones $170 million. And you know how I feel about that. So at least Dak put up numbers. At least they made it to the playoffs. You know, not to mention his humanitarian efforts off the field by him winning the Walter Payton Man of the Year award. You know, he has accolades. He earned his contract. Even though I don't think he's that good, he still earned the contract.
Eli's illegitimate son had us all, not us, I'm not going to say us, had a lot of people fooled and thought because David Cutcliffe was his coach, like he was Eli Manning's coach, like he was Peyton's coach, that he was going to be special. He has not been special. He has been embarrassing. He has broken off big runs and then stumbled because a blade of grass reached up and tackled him to prevent him from scoring a touchdown. He has thrown bonehead interceptions at the most inopportune time in the world. The owner, and it ain't just on him, but let me be clear, it's also on the GM and the head coach. Because the owner of the team asked him when they said they was going to release Saquon. He said, I'm not going to regret this, am I? He's not going to end up going to Philadelphia and doing well, is he? And they said no. See, first off, thank your lucky stars, Troy White is not the owner of the team. Because the moment he signed with the Eagles and he had his first 100-yard game, don't worry about it. No, you ain't got to pack nothing up. Security took care of all of that. I need to holler at y'all in the parking lot. Before you leave, we need to have a talk in the parking lot because I asked you nicely because I was going to give this man his money. You said we was going to be okay. Now we losing game after game after game. Season ticket holders in New York ain't like season ticket holders in Tampa. They going to voice their opinion on talk radio. It's a few things in life you don't want to listen to if you like your team and your head coach. That is talk radio in New York. They will make you turn on your own family. That's not a nice bunch. And these people are losing in New York. Think about it. So TP was right. TP was definitely right. He's definitely right.
Staying in New York, the New York Jets have fired their GM. Aaron Rodgers has successfully went to the New York Jets and got everybody fired. They fired the head coach, the offensive coordinator, and now the GM. He has gotten the entire organization fired because we can't see what is clearly right in front of us. He is not the same since his Achilles injury. He is over 40 years old. He can no longer do it. And until they accept that fact, they're going to continue to be a dumpster fire. The New York Jets have been a dumpster fire since Chad Pennington was the quarterback of the team. They just can't figure it out. I don't know what it is. They just can't figure it out.
You know, this may be wrong to say, but maybe his rehab would have gone better if he wasn't using drugs. It's tough. It's tough because you know, I know there's a class action lawsuit against ginger ale, but maybe if he drank more ginger ale instead of that peyote stuff, maybe he can drop back, set his feet, and throw on time. I could be wrong. But as the world turns, I really wish Marlo was here before I say this, but I don't care. Do not expect nothing good out of the NFC South. Nothing. They're doing the exact same thing this year as they did last year. Nobody wants to win and secure the division. Atlanta just needed one win last year at this time to secure the division. And here we are again, full circle. Tampa done lost twice in a row. And Atlanta can't get right. And Charlotte and New Orleans, oh my God. I like Derek Carr. I do. He was the last decent rated quarterback we had in the last 10 years. What is happening in New Orleans is not all on him, but some of it is. And Cleveland. I like J-Bo. I think Jameis Winston is immensely talented. I think his arm is special. But when y'all decided to sign him as a free agent, nobody did the research that he's never played a game in 40-degree weather. Nobody did that research. Nobody. It didn't come up in meetings. He ain't never played in a cold weather state. Never came up. Cool. This is to be expected because these are the same people that didn't bother to do research on Instagram massage therapists. So, I mean, what am I expecting? Well, it is that time of the week, ladies and gentlemen, where we have our partner shots. TP, because I'm going to be ignorant this week, I'm going to let you go first because I know I'm going to be absolutely ignorant.
I'm scared. People of America, I'm scared these last 2 weeks. College football. I'm going to be sweating in my knockers watching my Longhorns play Kentucky, followed by A&M. We have no wins against ranked teams. Yes, we're currently sitting at number 3, but we don't have any wins against ranked teams. If we lose either one of these games, there is a strong possibility that we don't make the playoff. And it might be, deservingly so, because we have not earned it. We have to dominate Kentucky, and then we have to dominate A&M to secure our spot in the college football 12-team playoff. There are 5 other SEC teams that are literally waiting for us to mess up. Tennessee, if they went out, they still have a good chance of making the playoff. Alabama can sneak back into the playoff. So can Georgia, and so can Ole Miss. There's tiebreakers all over the place, and it's all going to come down to the last week of the season. The 12-team playoff has created a different kind of buzz around college football because you don't have to be in the top 4. You have to just win your conference, especially in these Power 5 like the Big 10, Big 12, ACC, and SEC. Out of those 4 conferences, we guarantee 4 of those teams are going to make it. If this was the same scenario as last year, even though Florida State lost their quarterback, they would have still got in. But the SEC, though, you want to talk about rock'em sock'em robots? They've been beating each other up all year. No team has went into a game in the SEC just knowing they were going to win. Texas even struggled against Arkansas. And that's not to say that Arkansas is a bad team. I'm saying that even Arkansas has played very good football this year. They just happen to be in the toughest division in college football. The Big Ten is making a challenge for that, though, because we have a very important game this Saturday. Indiana is playing Ohio State. Indiana is undefeated. Ohio State only lost this to number 1 Oregon. I believe if Indiana is able to win this game, they should be guaranteed a spot in the playoff. If they lose this game, let's say they keep it close and they lose, and then they win next week, they will be the best one-loss team to not make the college football playoff. And if that happens, I think it is a very grave injustice to the season that they've had. For your only loss to be the number 2 Ohio State and to have dominated the way that they have, to be left out of the playoffs. When we'll have teams like BYU and Boise potentially playing in the playoff. And this isn't any disrespect to those schools, but they don't play the same guys that Indiana does. If Ohio State loses this game, I don't feel like they should be left out of the playoff. Your 2 losses are to number 1 Oregon, and if Indiana wins, they'll probably jump to 2, 3, or 4. So those are your only 2 losses. You lost to the 1 and 2. I think you deserve a chance in the playoff. I think they deserve an at-large bid. Either way, this game has a lot of playoff implications. It kind of all, just like the SEC, it's going to all boil down to the last week of the season. And I think that they've added a very exciting element to college football. And I'm just ready to watch. Might throw something on the grill. You never know. Just watch college football all day. Because these last 2 weeks, this is when it matters. This is when big players make big plays. Legends are born in the fall. But should be a good weekend of football, both college and NFL. My eyes will be on my Longhorns, and as a fan of the sport, I'll be watching Indiana take on Ohio State. Will Howard has made some questionable decisions in big games. He's still very immature as a player. So we can potentially see some growth in real time. And that's part of the story of football is watching guys literally grow up right in front of your eyes. This is why I love the sport so much. So I'll see y'all again next week. Tuesday, Thursday is Turkey Day. TP gonna be cooking. It's gonna be Chef TP Thanksgiving. So Tuesday, Madness Podcast, and then the following week we'll have a whole week worth to talk about.
Well, thank you, TP. Thank you for taking that. This classic weekend is brought to you by Bombay and Bramble. Wonderful gin. I like that gin because it does not look like gin. Does not look like gin, but it tastes like gin. It's homecoming at Florida State. I will not crash out. I'm not even going to look at the scope. Why you say? Because I'm going to be in Orlando. I'm going to be at Camping World Stadium. I'm going to be walking about. I'm going to be checking out all the scenes, getting my conch salad, conch fritters. Slutty Ice. Shout out to Slutty Ice. I will be coming by your stand to get me one of y'all specials because they make the best mixed drink with gin and candy that you can find in the state. Slutty Ice. I will be going to every FAMU vendor I can find to get me merch because Marlo got a head start on me and I need to catch up. I will also be purchasing the Social House FAMU Fang Exchange vodka. I will be purchasing that this weekend too. Why? Because it's classic weekend. Now let's talk about why we came down here. We came down here to fellowship. We did. We came down here to fellowship. We're going to fellowship on Thursday, on Friday, and Saturday morning at breakfast. After that, it is fuck them people. I don't know you. You not my people. You are a rival. And whatever y'all do, don't y'all put Miss Mary up there on that scoreboard. That was the creepiest thing in the history of the world. How y'all gonna bring that lady back to life? But this is what happens when you get a programmer from Bethune-Cookman. If I was Coach Colsey, I would have a fiery speech. You played in Florida State. This is similar, but this ain't that. Because in Florida State, y'all friends again. When it is a Florida Classic, you ain't friends again, you family again. You got to see these people at Thanksgiving. This game used to be played on Thanksgiving weekend. So I done broke bread with my traitorous relative that went to Bethune-Cookman or is a Bethune-Cookman fan, and now I got to look at your face on Saturday. Nah, you got to catch this whooping, and now I get to talk noise 365 until we play again. So, Coach Burris, getting the boys hyped, come out the gate fast. Leave no doubt who the best HBCU is in the state. And whatever you do, make sure strike and strike again. Because it's FAMU versus everybody. And this weekend, if you ain't that school from Daytona, why is you talking to us? We don't know you. It is only about the Florida Classic. Listen, I want to thank everybody for coming out. 13 in the building. We see you. Clips will be coming from Tuesday. I posted one up on Instagram. I'll start posting those on TikTok. I will make better use of Blueski. I'll start using that as well. So you'll start seeing the videos and stuff over there as well. I also posted the founding day of the Disrespect segment. That is online on Twitter today. Somebody asked about it. And I just made reference that I'm not going to go back and forth with Theo on Pittsburgh, because if I say something positive about Pittsburgh, he going to switch on me and start saying something negative about Pittsburgh. I ain't doing that. Been there, done that, got a t-shirt. Ain't doing that no more. But for myself, TP, Marlo is in the streets. DK is at home or at work. Everybody at Fat Mouth Sports, this has been an amazing year. We've been able to do incredible things during this football season. And if I didn't ever thank you before, I am thanking you now. Thank you all for supporting the channel. For myself, TP, we are out.